A Swift Kick in the Ass, episode 148. Life is challenging and difficult. No one gets out alive. Time to suck it up, Buttercup. Get ready for a monster-sized boot aimed to help you get traction on personal change and get living. I am John Curran, your host. Join me as I share my journey exploring the forces that motivate us to change and help us get through whatever life throws at us. A swift kick in the ass. Life on your terms. Welcome to another episode of A Swift Kick in the Ass. This is your host, John Curran, and today's topic, walking the talk will get you there, but is it really what you want? Pretty long title. Had to do a little thinking on that one. In any case, it's been a couple of years now since Tommy has passed, and I do believe that I am through the grieving process. In fact, I have to say that there is life beyond grief, and there is a lot of good still in life for those who remain living. Of course, I miss my friend. There's not a day that goes by that I don't really think about Tom. But I know he's gone, and he's out of pain, and his story is over. But mine continues. And at the time of his death, it really felt like my world was crashing in. I mean, it really actually started before Tommy died. But when Tommy got sick, I really started to recognize my own mortality. And I will say that one of the things that I recognized about myself was that I was talking the talk and I was bullshitting myself. I really wasn't walking the talk. And I decided that I was going to start either walking the talk or just shutting up and letting things go. I made a choice. I decided that it was time to change. Tommy was dying or dead, and there was no changing that. But my life continued on. And of course, I was saddened by all of that. In fact, just thinking about it kind of brings me down. But it was also an opportunity to create change in my life. And what I've recognized about people who live on their own terms is that they are malleable. They adapt. They don't get hung up on their past mistakes or their past situations or conditions. They recognize that they're temporary, and they just need to focus on getting beyond. And by doing that and taking the focus off of things that you can't change and putting them on actions that you can take and places, putting your thoughts and intentions in places where you can make a difference in your life. You might be chipping away at the stone. It might just totally suck right now for you. I'm here to tell you it's going to be okay. You're going to get through it. And in fact, one day you're going to kind of just wake up and you're going to, for me, it was, I was sitting outside on my porch having some coffee, and I'm thinking about how wonderful my life is and how things have changed. And Oh my gosh, I just couldn't even imagine. Um, my life right now is so much better than I could have even imagined. So we can be set in ways of what we really want, and I think that's really good uh, for the most part. You need to, if you have your heart set on something, you need to keep going. And sheer determination and perseverance have gotten me so very far in life. But you also have to recognize when you're fighting a battle that you're never going to win and you have no possibility of winning. Now, for me, that's financial. I had, um, even though I had gone through and my wife and I paid off over 100 grand in debt, we paid it off in about 2.5 years. Even though that happened, and this is so freaking hard to admit, but putting kids in college, we paid that off, but life continues, and things really started getting out of hand. Probably when my daughter went into college, my oldest daughter went into college, and I started having these expenses. And I don't know if any of you have kids in college, but it's like having an extra household. Like the rent that I'm paying for my daughter is just outrageous. I can't believe I signed up for it, but I had to learn from that, and I have, and I'm going to apply that for my second daughter. So I'm sorry to my second daughter. She won't have it as easy. But I'm getting off point. My finances were in dire straits. I was under a lot of stress. Was worried about my job being eliminated because aren't we all? That's just the way things are these days. And I was digging a hole. I was in negative. And luckily, my sister noticed this. And she talked to my mom. And my mom, out of the kindness of her heart, paid off some of my debt. And to have that relief, and that's my early inheritance. I'm so fortunate and feel so privileged and so blessed to have that erased. But that doesn't mean that, all my worries are over. Far from it. All it is it's an opportunity to reset and really make sure that I have a positive cash flow now. So I do have a positive cash flow, and that is changing my life. Now, has it been huge? I mean, going from a negative number, a negative cash flow to a positive one, it wasn't that huge. When you're trying to catch up and you're behind, it can take you a long time, and it always takes you longer than you expect. But, even with the help that I had, I still had work to do, and I still didn't clean up everything. So I'm still working at that. And I still, of course, I think we fool ourselves in thinking that once we complete one challenge and are successful, that it's going to be easy from there on out. And that's a bunch of bull as well. I think we fool ourselves in thinking that the challenges are always going to be there. And once one challenge is, reached successfully, then another one fills its place. That's just the way it is. So I had tremendous stress on me as I said, my friend's dying. My financial life is in shambles. My kids have needs, to go to school. I've made promises to them. I made promises to my dad that I would get them through college. It's important to me. and the stress was killing me. And if you think back on our episodes when Tommy was dying, he wasn't all that concerned about death. He wasn't scared of death itself. He was scared about not getting as much life out as much as he could. He wanted to squeeze as much life out of the time that he had. And unfortunately, death will often do that. It will remind us to get living. What the hell are you doing? Sitting around, entertaining yourself, probably playing with yourself, and doing nothing, getting nothing accomplished. This is a wake-up call, dude. Or dudette. I remember sitting out in my backyard just by myself. I had to get away, and just feeling like life was falling apart. Everything was coming out. Stop thinking that, okay? Yeah, things can suck. Things can really suck. And we talk about embracing that suck. Sometimes the things that we can't change, you just got to give it a big bear hug and say, come here. You know what? I accept you and I surrender. This is pointless to try to fight something that you can't change. It sucks. You just got to come to terms with that in your own way. And everybody has a different way of doing that. Everyone does it in their own time. And I can tell you what worked for me. Others can tell you what worked for them. But in the end, you're going to find out what works for you. So for me, when Tommy was dying, I started looking at myself, really. And, living on your own terms, which is what this whole show is about, is really about finding yourself. And I was listening to an interview with the lead singer from Led Zeppelin, if you know who that band is, Robert Plant. He was talking about how thankful he was to have the opportunity to explore time and space of his moment. And, his now in Zen, I guess. But, if you really think about it, he looked at himself as an adventurer and an explorer. And, exploring, we might not like the space and the time that we're in right now, but that's what we have. And that's what we have to work from. And if we work from that space, then that creates more time and space in ways that you'll never, ever recognize. Like, for me, the time and space that I had when Tommy was about to die is that I wanted to learn how to play guitar. I've always had music in my life. I've played multiple instruments, been in, high school bands, middle school bands, had friends over for jam sessions. Just, I've always said I'm not that good. I still am not that good, but been really wanting to learn how to play guitar. And I decided I'm going to get some lessons. I did that, and I started applying my, 5-minute a day principle, saying I'm going to play guitar 5 minutes a day, no matter what. I'm going to get this into my life, and if I'm going to do it. And what I found is that I always do at least 5 minutes. It's hardly ever just 5 minutes. I'm always doing it, and I find myself now always thinking about music, always thinking about the guitar, not just playing it, but learning, watching YouTube videos, getting some insight about ways I can better myself and better my playing. And I think that can be applied to any type of goal that you have. You have to learn about it. You have to invest time. You have to create the time in your life and create the time and the space for whatever you're trying to learn, to bring that in so that you can accept it. And from that space, it's going to grow more and more and more, and it's going to create more and more opportunities. Like, if you don't know how to play guitar, how can you expect to have a band? How can you expect to find other musicians and play with them and learn how to play more, how to play better? You really can't. It's just a pipe dream. It's a bunch of BS is what it is. You're fooling yourself, and you're just a poser, really. All this, fake it till you make it. There's something to be said about that, because I think a lot of us, even when we make it, we still think we're faking it, because we don't necessarily believe in ourselves enough. We don't have the confidence. But a lot of these things that we take on will build confidence and bring confidence, that you've never could have imagined having. This leads me to one of the other things that have changed in my life, and that I brought martial arts into my life. Now, I've talked on this show about my son Johnny, who I started in doing Taekwondo when he was about, I think, five or six. And he is 13 years old now. And he's going on his second degree black belt. It's so cool. He's a kid. He's not Bruce Lee. He's Johnny. But he is evolving, and he has reached a point now to where it just clicks for him, and it's so cool to watch. But when he was about to turn black belt, I asked him, I said, "Now, do you want to continue on and doing this?" And he said, "Yeah," since I love, he loved doing it. And I thought, okay, you know what? If he's going to keep doing it, I'm kind of tired of just sitting there watching him. I've always thought about doing martial arts. Let me give it a go. Tommy used to do a lot of martial arts, and kind of always tried to inspire me to learn. And he would teach me a few things. As you know, he was in jiu-jitsu and had jiu-jitsu family. His wife is now black belt in jiu-jitsu. She's total badass. And Tommy would love that Johnny is a black belt in Taekwondo. And he did, I guess, know that he started. And he would have loved the fact that I started. And I've been doing it now for about 4 years. And so I'm a black belt now. And that kind of explains, too, why I haven't been able to do a lot of these podcasts, because I've been living my life. A long time ago, when Tommy and I first started the podcast, I remember finding this blog about living on your terms. And the guy it was just a goodbye letter, basically, saying, you know what? I've learned that I got to stop talking about living my life, and I've got to do it. So this is it, I struggle with that myself, and I think sometimes maybe I need to just give up this podcast and let it go. But I think that this topic is much bigger than me. Tommy and I always believe that, and it goes beyond what I have to say about it. This is something that people need to hear. People need to explore their own time and space of their moment and make it the best that they possibly can. And since I've started doing martial arts, I have a confidence now that's unbelievable. I know that, and this is not a challenge to anybody. Don't want to sound like a jerk, but if someone is up in my face, I'm not going to stand down anymore. I used to. And I'm not going to go looking for a fight. I've never done that. But if you're going to bring me one, I'm going to say bring it on. And you're going to regret it. I might not win, but you're going to know that you made a mistake in doing that. I know I have grown, and I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going for my second degree too. And also what I've discovered is, and I find this is very helpful, and I meant to actually say this first. Some things we just have to give our time to. And the first way we do that is we just have to breathe. We breathe in, and then I think you can figure what you do next. You breathe out, and then you repeat, and you just keep on doing that. You can get through the moment. Gather yourself. If you breathe in and you breathe out, that's focusing your thoughts, and it's actually meditation. And we all meditate in our own way, but it all really goes down to breathing. And what I learned going through that very stressful time is that I really wasn't breathing, and I had to remind myself to breathe. Let's just face it. Sometimes the things that we go through take our frickin' breath away. And if you don't breathe, you die. You need to breathe. If you can control your breath and learn how to control your breath and learn that these thoughts that come into our head, we can't control them, but we can let them pass. We can say, okay, I see you there. And oftentimes they just go on. They move. It's almost like a deflective move in the martial arts, to where you're using that force that's coming at you against, and it's to your advantage. And once you know how to do it, it's very easy to do. So let me see. So in this, I breathe. First thing, breathe in, breathe out. Another pointer, I think, that I found very helpful is find the glimmer. You'd be like, what the hell? Find the glimmer. I thought this was a swift kick in the ass, not some walk in the park. Boy, that was a bad attempt. Bringing some drama into this. Find the glimmer. These are moments of thankfulness. Moments that bring a smile to your face. When you think about something and it brings a smile to your face, that's a glimmer. And it might just be for a few heartbeats. But if you recognize that glimmer, recognize these things that bring a smile to your face, you are one step closer to getting the hell out of whatever you're going through. Because these things that make you happy are important. And once you start to recognize them, it's almost like a snowball effect. You will find more and more and more. And shouldn't you be smiling all the time? Shouldn't you be happy? And shouldn't you be doing these things on your terms, not somebody else's? Look at what you want out of life. Start walking the talk. Or don't even talk about it. Just walk it, man. Recognize things are temporary. Both good times and bad times. Our life is made up of both. And it's really a roller coaster ride. So you better buckle yourself in. I'll learn how to. And if you're about to fall out of your chair or you're out of your seat, find a way to climb back in. You can do it. You will get through this bad time. Believe me, nothing lasts forever. But the successful, of course, they recognize and they come face to face with whatever, the issue is. And then they move beyond it. And they let it go. And they don't let the past hinder them, because we can't change the past. We can only change the future. Or we can we can only change the here and now. The here and now is the only time we can ever take action. We can't really take action we can plan to take action in the future, but we can't take action in the future. We have to take it in the here and now. Can't take it in the past either. Past is gone. So, before I get off my soapbox, I'm just going to remind you all that while we don't always get what we want, we more than often get what we need. And you might not know what you really need. And I think that's part of the silver lining in all of, going through difficult times, is that you find out who you are a little bit more. And this is a great adventure. Explore your own time and space. Explore this moment that you're in. And you're going to see things a lot differently when you really start to ask your questions about things, about what you're going through, about yourself, how you're going to get out, what you want out of life, what you want to do with your life, and these terms that you live with. So, this is John Curran. I'm going to end it here. It's always a pleasure, and I would love to hear from you. Please write me at john@aswiftKickInTheAss. Just give me your ideas, man. Tell me what's going on. Is this worthwhile? Should I keep doing this? I think I'm going to, whether or not what you say. But I hope everyone is doing well. Continue to kick ass and continue to keep question things and keep living on your terms. I'm out of here. Peace. This marks the end of another episode of A Swift Kick in the Ass, placing it directly in the can. As much as I like to talk, even I have my limits. It's time to go. Catch me on the next show. For better or worse, whether you like us or not, please leave comments wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Twitter. Visit our home on the interweb. I think you can leave me a voicemail there. You can also email me at john@aswiftkickintheass.com. It's been my extreme pleasure. I hope you got a lot out of it. I hope you got your ass moving. Until then, until the next time, I'm out of here. Peace.